Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by Michele Blood. Michele travels the world transforming lives. She has been featured in hundreds of magazines, radio and TV shows, and podcasts. The reason why people like Michele so much is because of the way she helps people transform and grow, and what she teaches works fast. So we're going to be talking to her about what she teaches and all the people she's worked with and helped transform. Michele, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's my absolute pleasure, Curtis. Thanks so much for allowing me to be with you today. Why
don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, a little bit about myself. I'm an Aussie. G'day, everyone. From down under or up and over, whichever you choose to say. And I was a rock singer in Australia for years and years and years, and had near fatal car accident, well, actually a truck accident, that absolutely changed the trajectory of my life. And even though I adored what I did, I managed the band. I was a lead singer. At one stage, we were so popular, we had toured literally non-stop for 7 years. Supported In Excess, The Pretenders, Midnight Oil, you name it. Had thousands of people coming to our gigs every night. So you would think, how could a truck accident that nearly killed her, how could that be the best thing that ever happened to her when I was young, doing really well, loving the videos we were doing, writing all the songs? How could that be better than you'd think I was living my dream, wouldn't you, Curtis? However, that was my curveball that changed my life, having that near fatal car accident, being in that hospital for months. And I created a way to heal my body. And that's what I want to talk about today. And also, just the way things happen. There's no accidents in life. Everything happens for a reason. The divine guides us in all that we do. So anytime we think we've got a negative situation, if you look back, you can always see how that can turn around very quickly.
Well, kind of talk about how you are featured and going around the world, helping people have success and transform lives off of everything that you've experienced. You've been featured by hundreds of magazines, podcasts, different corporations, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, well, what happened, just to let everyone know, in that hospital, the truck driver, Australia is huge. And so it doesn't have many people for how big it is. It's got about the same population as LA, I think. And Australia, for those who don't know, is as big as America. It's just as big. Anyway, if you take off Alaska, that is. But then again, we've got Tasmania. Anyway, in that hospital, I was told if I ever did walk again, if I even survived the first week, because there were so many injuries, it was horrific. The truck driver had fallen asleep, and as a passenger, all the musical equipment and things went into me. So I was really banged up and had many, many, many long operations. And I thank the doctors with all of my heart for the good work they can do. But the things that are impossible, the doctors tell you are impossible, became possible for me through creating what I call affirmation power music. And I was attempting to do affirmations. I am healed. I know I am. I love myself. I am my friend. However, they weren't working, Curtis, because the doubting mind believed, obviously, what the doctors and everything, and the physical agony I was in, you're going to believe that rather than, yeah, you're healed. So I kept saying it over and over again, and it just wasn't working for me. And then I had an epiphany as a singer-songwriter. You can't get a song out of your head. That's why advertising agencies spend billions, not millions a year on jingles, because they know once you have that song in your head, you have their product in your head forever. And why little kiddies can learn their ABCs so beautifully, because they can sing them. So I was saying, I am healed. I know I am. I love myself. I am my friend. It wasn't working because it wasn't going into the treasury of my subconscious mind. So I started singing. I am healed, I know I am. I love myself, I am my friend. Sang it over and over again onto a cassette. And to make a very long story, interesting story, a little shorter for you, is I ended up having miraculous healing, went into the studio and created tons more affirmations, pop songs, but not for the public. I had no intention, Curtis, of giving it to the public. It was just for my own consciousness and for the consciousness of my friends in the band, so I was writing songs about persistence and success and love and, just forgiving and just all these beautiful little miraculous little songs that just go straight into the subconscious mind. So journalists in Australia found out about my healing because they knew me as a singer, and they started interviewing me in magazines and TV and stuff. And then because of that, promoters in Australia were coming to me and saying, we'd love you to come and sing at this event we're doing with 𝗟𝗢𝗥𝗡, with Wayne Dyer, then it was Bob Proctor, then it was Louise Hay, and all of these people I'd never heard of. These hugely successful authors I'd never heard of because I didn't live in that world, Curtis. I lived in the world of rock and roll my entire life, right? So it ended up being extremely successful. They ended up selling my CDs at the back of the room. And I said, why would you sell affirmation music to people? And they said, because that's why we got you up here singing, because it works really well. But the great and late Bob Proctor was the one who really got hold of it. He was really enthusiastic. And he said, I want you to travel all over the world with me and my wife and do events with us. And to the extent that one of the songs that I ended up co-writing with Bob in Malaysia, 𝗟𝗢𝗥𝗡 untuk bangsa, Motivation for the Nation, was on New Year's Eve. We had a year after we recorded, we had 50,000 people at a concert.
Well, give people tips on how to change their lives and set themselves up for positive success, even if they feel like they can't.
Well, this is the really good thing. Good question, because there's no way I would have thought, lying in that hospital bed with all those operations yet to come, and not just the depression, but when you're in physical agony, just unbelievable agony. Well, how can you possibly change your mind to the positive? Well, music did it. Music makes the world go round, and no one else was doing positive affirmation music at that time. So I was the first to do it. So what I say to people is, if you begin with just listening to the music, you don't even have to sing it. You just have to listen to it. And it just goes in your subconscious mind. And before you know it, you'll be singing, I am healed. I'm a magnet to money. I am a success. All the positive things that your doubting mind didn't feel worthy enough to even whisper to yourself before. So you end up, and it's not about ego. It's about having an improved life, not just health, but positivity, harmony, joy. I mean, I have worked in over 26 countries, and all the different cultures and all the different people that I've worked with are all the same. Everybody wants to love and be loved. Everyone wants to have a purpose and feel like they're doing something worthwhile in the world, and that they're able to have the prosperity that is required, not for their neighbors to be impressed, but for them to be able to feed their families and look after themselves. And this is one of the things that I love to do. But I also love I still sing. I just recorded a new album a year and a half ago called Create Miracles, Powerful Affirmation Songs to Harmonize Your Life. And it's just a joy to still be able to do the music, especially now with all the Zooms. I do a lot of Zoom events. And if you start just listening to the music, you don't even have to buy it. I'm going to give away so much stuff to all of you today, just for you to experiment and see what works. There's going to be the magnetic creative visualization, because that's another important thing, is for you to see in your mind's eye what it is, because the mind doesn't know the difference. Just to sort of start visualizing what it is that you want. And also my video about the practice of meditation, teaching you how to really practice meditation, because I got off the grid after a while doing all these touring around, Curtis, because I found I was soul sick and I wanted to find God. So I was looking for a teacher, an enlightened teacher, and they're very rare. It took me 14 years to find one, which it nearly felt impossible that I did, but she decided to take me on. I went off the grid, and for 10 years I lived and breathed meditation and practicing mysticism and getting to know that I am inside of me, until eventually I had an awakening. And I just love to teach people meditation and assist them to have a better life. Because, Curtis, some people don't want to go too deeply into mysticism, but to start with, just to have a better life, just to begin to listen to the music that I'm going to gift you and go through the products. The Magic of Affirmation Power book, I'm also gifting you. And all you have to do to get all of that is, let me find the link here, is go to Michele Blood, MicheleBlod.com/living the dream, and you will get tons and tons of beautiful products. And then if you can look out for an email from us, from team at the Mystical Experience, we're also going to gift you one of my favorite products I've ever done, which is 6 weeks of videos to teach you all aspects to be able to clean out negative energy from your home, from your mind, from your family, from your work, and to be able to really just climb out of whatever hole you're in right now. And people from all over the world do video testimonials and talk about how this has changed their lives, because I think people get too into the complication of it. And I'm a simple person, so I like to say, KISS, keep it simple and spiritual, and miracles can happen.
Well, what kind of people do you feel like would be interested in getting on the same spiritual path that you went on?
Well, I don't think everyone would be interested in the same spiritual path I was on, because mine went really deep. You know, you hide yourself away and just meditate for 10 years. That's going pretty deep. Not everyone's able to do that. But it's interesting that you should ask that, Curtis, because, you know, in marketing, people say, well, what sort of person is attracted to what you teach or what your books or what you do? And what we have found is it's not a matter of what type of person. It's a soul type. It's a person who wants to, if they've just sort of lost hope and they really start to search. They're like, something's got to happen to change my life. Something's got to happen to change my life. So they start surfing the internet. They found, you know, a lot of them just found a whole heap of videos of mine. Plus I did a lot of products with Bob Proctor, so they found me through him as well. And then they come along and they realize, oh, I don't need an old Asian man to teach me about enlightenment. So we've got people in 32 countries that are my students, doctors, lawyers, dentists, many medical professionals, housewives, housemen, students, musicians. I mean, just, it's a soul type. It's usually someone not desperate, not always desperate, but definitely searching for the meaning of their life. And sometimes it's just someone simply wanting more money in their life, or they want to be healed, their body healed, and they start searching there. And once the soul starts seeking, whatever your soul is seeking, it's seeking you. So you end up resonating with that thing that it is that you're seeking. And that's a beautiful, beautiful experience when you can feel within your heart glowing, and you sort of know. You just, like when I met my teacher, I just saw her and she just started speaking, and I just knew that I knew that she was my teacher, and that changed my life. And I was so blessed that she agreed to let me study with her all those years. And because it was very, very challenging to find someone who is fully enlightened. So that's what happened to me. But one of the things that I love about what we do is everyone ends up laughing and being very irreverent. And I just want to bring the spark of joy back into people, because if they realize how joyful they can be no matter what's going on in the world, and to be thankful for your beautiful life every day, being thankful to the divine for your beautiful life, the more you're grateful, the more you've got to be grateful for. And it really works that way. One of the things people can do is, before they go to sleep, they can have a little journal or something in next to their bed and just write 6 things down that you're grateful for that day. And if you can't think of anything you're grateful for that day, did you end up going to the toilet inside a house? You didn't have to go outside. That's be grateful. Did you have a shower? Was there actually, you got plumbing in your place? That's something to be thankful about. You know, just so many things people don't realize. Did you eat today? Be grateful that you got to eat today. There are so many things you can be grateful for. And it's always important to also be grateful. And you just write it down for your loved ones. Write that down for the people that support you and think of all the people that you can support, like Curtis is doing with Living the Dream with Curveball.
Do you have any current or upcoming projects that you're working on that people need to know about?
We've got an amazing app that we've just done. It took 1.5 years to do it, to build it. It's a very challenging thing to create an app and get the right developers. It's called Magnet to Money app. So you just go to magnettomoneyapp.com, and it's my famous Magnet to Money song. So you have notifications, and you get to, even if you don't think, oh, I can't listen to that song again, but you want to have that money consciousness, prosperity consciousness in your mind so that you can start to attract better things in your life and opportunities and success. This app will play that song every hour if you want, just little notifications, tons of beautiful affirmations, spiritual affirmations, material affirmations, health and love affirmations. And we're just adding new content this week, which is a couple of beautiful visualizations and what I call the Prosperity Angel Sleep Program, where it's me speaking to them very softly with beautiful ethereal music. So you have a whole brain experience about their life and how they're loved and what to expect. And it helps people just absolutely go into a very, very beautiful deep sleep. I take the body right through the relaxation. And we're also adding a 7 to 10 minute daily morning meditation to guide them on what they're going to focus on that day, what good and positive things they're going to focus on. So that's been thrilling, really, to see this come to fruition. It's only for iPhones, but it's interesting because I just found out today that it's not just for iPhones. We haven't done the Android version yet, but it's also, you can actually load the app up on your iPod, your music iPod, your Apple Music iPod. So that's fantastic for people that don't have Androids.
All right. So y'all definitely, all you phone listeners and iPod users, make sure you go ahead and get that app so people can keep up with all the live events and all the events that you do on Zoom. Throw out the contact information so people can check you out.
Yeah. I do a lot of free Zoom events because I love for people to be able to experience that. I did it for about 6 months, every morning, a free event when lockdown first happened. And I realized, wow, this is great. I've got to do a lot more of this because it's so easy to uplift people. People don't understand how easy it is to change their consciousness, but they have to be willing to do it. They have to be able to be open and receptive. Because I don't know about you, Curtis, but I found that people that are very giving people and that are spiritually aware type of people are often not able to receive. Have you found that?
Yes, I have found that because they're so busy helping others that they don't really take time for themselves.
Yeah, so it's important, very, very important to learn to receive and to learn to give. I mean, even a compliment. Oh, I love that dress. Oh, this whole thing. No, say thank you. It's not about the ego. It's about acknowledging someone else has said something nice to you. You don't want to put it down. And also to sincerely be just in that moment every day, to be in that moment of being grateful for your life. And when someone wishes to give you something, they've done that. You can always feel if someone's doing it for manipulative reasons. And that's very rare, actually, I found. Most people are just very, very giving. And so the great affirmation is, I am open to give and to receive. I am open and receptive to give and to receive. And for every day to say, thank you for my beautiful life. And then if you want to go a step further, you can actually write down what a beautiful life looks like to you. Because most people are thinking about what they don't want instead of what they do want. And your thought has power. So if you're telling your mind continuously what you don't want and you start complaining, well, then you're going to get a lot more things to complain about. Right, Curtis?
That's right. So close us out with some final thoughts, maybe something that I didn't touch on that you would like to touch on, or just any final thoughts you might have for the listeners.
I'd love to do a prayer for them if that's okay.
It works for me.
Okay. First of all, I'll give you just a couple more tips. If you find yourself complaining, Don't put yourself down. Don't put other people down. But if you do find yourself complaining about anything, yourself, someone you love, I don't know, the shopkeeper, say to yourself, just stop immediately and say to yourself, okay, I'm complaining because I'm masking something I'm afraid about. That's the only reason I'm complaining, because it sort of gives me a little bit of pseudo energy. If I create a little bit of drama, it makes me feel like I can feel something. And everybody wants energy. Everybody needs that energy in their life to be able to do what they want to do and to be able to persist until they succeed at whatever they've set their minds to creating. And so I think it's very, very good to stop and just say, like Diana Ross, stop in the name of love, and just say, what am I afraid of losing that I already have? Or what am I afraid of not getting of something that I really want? Because if you can pinpoint what you're afraid of, bam, a bell goes off. And what happens is that thing that you were afraid of disappears from your consciousness. So then you don't attract what you're afraid of. And if you can do 21 days of no complaining, I don't mean if you're halfway through a complaint and you stop because you're mindful enough to say, whoa, I'm doing it again. I'm complaining. This person didn't deserve me to complain about them. Maybe you just need some sleep. Maybe you're hungry. Maybe you just need to exercise your body, because sometimes if you start getting a little bit like that, it's because, it could be a physical thing. It's not always just because you're afraid of something. So if you can begin to pinpoint what it is that you're afraid of why you're feeling a certain way, you can immediately shift it. You can shift it in a moment. Put on some funny audio programs or podcasts that you think are really funny or uplifting, like Curtis's podcasts, and just allow yourself to be free, because you are free. We live in a time and an age where, you're allowed to say you meditate. You're allowed to say that you love the divine and not be put on the Spanish Inquisition. You're free to study anything that you want to study. I mean, even back when I was teaching back in the early 90s, when I first started teaching, people would go, that sounds a bit weird. That's a bit woo-woo, Woodstockish stuff, isn't it? And I'd say, no, it really does work. And the spiritual studies that have been done at Johns Hopkins, at Berkeley, about music with positive lyrics, music therapy is absolutely a phenomenon now. But back when I was still teaching it and I was the first one to bring it out, people just were like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's simple to be that easy. People want to complicate things. My goodness. So my prayer for everyone right now is just know, I know for you that everything within you, every single person listening, and especially this is for you too, Curtis, and everyone, that you have all the power within you. You have all that light. Omnipotent power comes through you, animates you, created you. Omnipresent light is the frequency, the divine frequency that you harmonize at, that you have absolute omniscient wisdom available to you 24/7. You have to let go, surrender to that light that is you, your higher self. And I am going to know the truth for you now, that from this moment onwards, this moment, every area of your life is going to begin to improve. I know that my prayers work. I know that my faith is so strong, and the light that comes through me is that impetus to transmit your consciousness. So look out for the good, always looking for the good, always knowing that life is the most amazing, incredible, phenomenal gift from the divine. So appreciate your life, because there's so many souls out there waiting to have this experience that you're now in. And just know that everywhere you go, wherever you go, the divine presence has gone before you to prepare the way. You are, my friends, 100% God-governed. We are all one golden tapestry in the eternal light. So know that you are loved, and know that everything is possible. And as Mother Mira says, The divine wants you to have everything that will create happiness in your life, and you are loved.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are loved. And if you love this episode, please be sure to follow, rate, review, share this episode to as many people as possible. Also, check out the free gifts that Michele has prepared for you, micheleblood.com/livingthedream. Michele, thank you so much for joining me today.
God bless you, Curtis. Thank you so much. Love you. More love.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.
Before you go, please, if you want to receive some amazing high vibrational success meditation, tons and tons of free products, go to micheleblood.com/links.